Greetings, that was left incomplete, so I had to restart this because there was a network issue here. So I don't know if you dropped it or if you'll see this, but I'll just complete the thing. Yes, I had to restart this. Okay. Okay, glad you guys are here. I thought I lost all of you suddenly because the connection dropped. And can anyone remind me what was I talking about last? If you are aware, if you are in awareness, you will be. Somebody can tell me. What was the last sentence that you heard? Because I don't know where it got disconnected. I was talking and talking and talking. Then I realized, oh, the connection has dropped. Can someone tell me what was the last sentence that you heard? Shiva Shakti. No, I think I had gone beyond after that also. Yeah, that I had gone beyond. Okay, maybe probably you heard it only there. So I was talking about Shiva Shakti. What happens is when the Ida Pinglanadi goes and meets there, the final annihilation happens. And that is where the nourishment happens. When the two people meet together, like any two people, when it is an established relationship, not all the relationships are very established. Your employer and an employee relationship is incomplete. It has got very conditional stuff. So whichever relationships in the world is conditional is supposed to have a temporariness. And that is when we run from one to the other. If two relationships are conditional, then they move and they seek each other. If even a guru disciple is conditional, they move and they seek other. It's not a pure kind of a completeness happening there. Any relationship, any kind of relationship in this world that you're dealing with, if it has got this incompleteness, conditionality, it will keep on moving. And that is what you don't get permanently. To get something permanently, there are very few bonds like the Guru Shishya bond, which is not attached to any outcome, which does not depend on the other, which does not try to gain anything, no expectation, it is completely unconditional. So when the Guru and Shishya meet with this kind of unconditionality, they serve the purpose. The Guru helped the Shishya to gain that final goal very easily, after which that disciple will not need to hunt for eternal peace, eternal happiness anywhere. The completeness has happened. Rare bonds are these, very rare bonds. So same, I was talking with twin flame, I think you did not hear it. The twin flames are, or soulmates, what they call, the completeness, very unconditional relationship. They come together, nourish each other, and they give a completion to that relationship. After that, there is no requirement of seeking any other. That's the end. So everything is based on this. But outer, if you go, if you see, the more unconditional means it's all inner. Office guy, the employer and the employee is not inner. There's no inner relationship if you see. It's external. It's very mean. Some business deals and all that. You do that, finish. That's it. But a Guru Shishya or something as sacred as a twin flame or something, it's got very unconditional. Means the conditions are not there and the connection comes from within. What I'm saying, antarmukhi, these are all antarmukhi relationships. Whichever is internal succeeds towards that eternal goal. Because that's very unconditional. Whichever is external, whatever relationship we have in this world, external will cease, will not result in that final attainment. So when it ceases, we hunt for another. This is how the whole equation goes. A little more on this and I'll just finish it up. See, some questions, beautiful questions ask, what is the difference between meditation and self-inquiry? This will answer us. Ramana says, meditation can occur only if the ego is annihilated, means only if the ego is destroyed, only meditation can happen. Because there is ego and the object that is meditated upon, means there are two people. The doer is there and the object of worship or the meditation is there. This method is indirect, he says. On the contrary, by seeking the ego's source, the ego disappears. Means, from where is this ego coming? If that person concentrates on that, it is coming from the self. Meditation, he says, it's working on the ego self. But if you go to the source, deep self-inquiry, who am I? What he's trying to say. When you go into the source, where is the ego coming from and it's trying to see, you will end up in the self. The source of where it is from. So he says, on the contrary, by seeking the ego's source, the ego disappears. That's one way to get rid of ego. Find from where is that ego coming. And he says, what is left over is the self. This method is a direct one. That is indirect. Meditation is indirect. We are hovering around the ego only. Not going deep into the source. You're getting that? Then he says, one of the obstacles of meditation to overcome is laya. One of the biggest obstacles for a seeker on the path is to overcome laya. Laya means a temporary stillness, a lull. A temporary means some people just go into meditation this way. A temporary laya. A blissful feeling or a trance or something like that, for just a few seconds. He says one of the biggest obstacles of meditation is to overcome this laya. Hence, the teacher who composed the Bhagavad Gita said, practice moderation in sleep. Means, do not oversleep. Practice moderation in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said. Why? Laya is happening due to oversleeping. So, what does this mean, moderation? It means 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Moderate sleep. Fakirs who tried to cut out sleep altogether went into ecstatic extremes which are unnecessary. The fakirs who tried to cut out sleep altogether, matlab no sleep at all, cutting out the sleep and remaining in that meditative mode or whatever, they went into extremes of that ecstatic this, and he says which is all unnecessary. Because see, the outcome of going into stillness or blankness is this trance or this ecstatic feeling or this blissful. Bliss is not the goal. This is what they are trying to say. There's something beyond. Go to from where the bliss is coming from. The whole thing is going into the self. Because that is the permanent space. Being established in the self is important than being established in the experience or the outcomes of that practice. So excessive sleep may be caused by, see now he talked about sleep, now he's saying what might cause excessive sleep. Excessive sleep might be caused because of overeating or overexertion. When you exert yourself, overwork yourself, then you end up in excessive sleep. Or when you overeat, excessive sleep. So basically, what he is talking about, moderation in sleep, moderation in eating, moderation in activity also. No overactivity, too heavy overwork. That the system, the balance shakes off. Deep sleep is not possible in daytime as the sun's rays have a peculiar effect preventing it. Hence, if you doze in the daytime, it is very easy to turn that into meditation as it is close to that condition. So he says it is not difficult, it is very difficult to have deep sleep, what we usually get at 3 am and 5 am. REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, very deep sleep. Deep sleep means absence of dreams, there are no dreams in that state. Very deep it is. So Shupti Avastha it is called. In Tripura I say. So day sleep, this sleep does not happen in daytime, he is saying, because the sun's effect have a peculiar effect. It will not allow you to go into it. So hence, if you doze in daytime, it is very easy to turn that into meditation. So you won't go into deep sleep, you will be just superficially sleeping. So what he is saying, take advantage of that and turn into that meditation. Because when people go to meditate, if you go into deep sleep, snoring and all that, you have gone into deep sleep. Gone. It's not a meditation then. So here what he is saying is, you should not go too deep also in that sleep. Superficial sleep, okay. That he says in the daytime that happens, dozing. Convert that into meditation, he says. As regards sleep, the moment you awake, be alert and begin to think of God or the self. Means when you wake up, Brahma, the day begins. The moment your eyes open, first thing that you think about is your self, God, something higher. Keep alert throughout the day. That is, practice the presence of God. This is what I am indirectly calling awareness. Keeping alert throughout the day, being aware throughout the day. Practice the presence of God. Your own presence, the presence of self or higher tattvas. You keep it in your presence. Yoga Skur Karmani. This is saying practice the presence of God. The second obstacle is the mind turning towards external object. So that the first obstacle he said is laya. That you go into deep sleep or you go into some ecstatic states or something, you are not being meditative. Second one that he says is turning, the mind turning itself outside to the outside objects. It is going outward. When that is overcome, means the mind is controlled, not going outside. The third obstacle is the meditator forgets that he is there in the meditation. See, while we are meditating, there is still a bhava that I am there. There is still something that is there. The meditator is always there when you are doing sadhana, when you are doing this. There is some doer there, always present. That is another third obstacle. He says, that should be forgotten. The doer should be also gone in the meditation completely. Then the fourth obstacle rises. The mind is working internally. It is difficult to control the mind. There is control by breath, which comes from practice alone. So he says all these obstacles in allowing the mind to go out, if you want to pull the mind inside, one best thing to do is with the breath. Because the breath and the mind is connected. You control the breath, mind is controlled. You control the mind, the breath is controlled. You must have seen that. How you control the mind, you raise into awareness. You are not giving any heed to it. So the mind becomes still. That is why when this mind becomes still, suddenly the breath also becomes very natural. Everything stills down. The movement of the body stills down. Are you seeing that? What's happening? Which comes from practice alone. This comes from this practice. Another thing that I always noted is, if you have too stressful thoughts, too many thoughts running in your mind all the time, and you can't suddenly catch hold of it or get into awareness, what you do is still your eyes. The eyes, which is moving here and there, it is watching like this, just immediately still your eyes. Look at something, freeze into that. One space, one spot, something. Just stare into that and don't move the eyes, still it there. Do it right now and see. Can you see the tip of this finger? Just concentrate on the tip of this finger here. Just focus on this and still your eyes, don't move your eyes. Just see only this part, the tip of the two fingers, thumb and the finger. Suddenly you see the thoughts have dropped. Mind becomes still. When the eyes also become still, the mind becomes still. Or I have always said, you go into awareness and make the mind still, your eyes will freeze, whether you like it or not. See, these are all interdependent tools. You can use the breath to control the mind, or the eyes to control the mind, or the mind to control the eyes, or the mind to control the breath. Otherwise, by the association with the wise, the mind comes under control spontaneously. Wise in the sense they are talking about people who are aware. If you are in the association of somebody who is on awareness, you will see that the mind stills. Such is the greatness of satsanga. or the association with the wise, he says. It must be clearly understood that for meditation it is not prohibited to practice without postures, fixed times or other accessories. So what he's saying is it's all okay, all these props are all okay, but again don't forget the main purpose, going, and that is the difference between meditation and inquiry. Inquiry, you are going straight to the source from where all this coming. You are just saying Neti, not this, not this, not this. You are just going and ending up in your, who's the meditator? Who's that? You are going straight there. Who's the one who's doing that? So, or the ego also, he said. Instead of the ego, find from where the ego is coming out from, birthing from. So if you go on deeper into the source, you will end up in the self. So he says that is a direct method of establishing contact with the self than with the meditation and going around all these things, controlling breath, controlling mind, all those things, and getting, still not reaching there near the self. So it's a powerful method, he says. Which path do you advise? We need your grace. Question. Ramana says, be still, do not think, and know that I am. That's all his words. Just be still. He doesn't say how. I'm saying with awareness, make everything still, become still, and in that state you will not think. When you do not think, just be in the knowing that I am that. This is the practice, simple practice that he said. Which path do you advise? And he said. So this can be done anytime when you are sitting. When the news of a devotee's marriage was conveyed to the Maharishi, someone asked, why has he done this? Surely he will fall back now. Somebody's marriage was being announced and they came running and, he's got married now. Why has he done this? He'll fall back now. The Maharishi laughed and said, why should marriage interfere with his spiritual progress? Unless satisfaction of bodily needs, such as thirst, hunger, evacuation of excreta, the stools, etc., is done, until this is complete, he says, meditation cannot progress. That is why the rishis always suggested this method of grahastha, going into the grahastha, because there you fulfill all your needs, otherwise meditation cannot progress. The results of Vichara meditation are willpower, developed concentration, control of passions, indifference to the worldly object, virtue and equality to all. It's all very simple. Hypnotic methods are not advised to induce yogic samadhis, because light gazing stupefies the mind and produces catalepsy of will temporarily, and it secures no permanent benefit. So any methods which he said, which is hypnotic methods, is not advisable, because it will induce a samadhi, a certain kind of hypnotic trance. Because, for example, light gazing, looking at a light and doing tratak or something, see, it is bahe. That's what I'm trying to say. There is a very popular method of tratak, light a lamp and watch it. It's good, but it's still bahemukhi. It's external, and what he says here is light gazing stupefies the mind, it alerts the mind actually, and produces catalepsy of will temporarily. The willpower, there's a temporary holding on to that, and it secures no permanent benefit. It does not give a permanent benefit. It might give you momentarily that some hypnotic trance or some things, where your willpower might be sharpened or null and dull and all those things. It's just temporary. It's a bahimukhi sadhana. Rather, antarmukhi, it's not mentioned here, but I would say that flame you can see inside. That is what many meditate on, the soul flame here, or in the heart, the flame. That same jyoti they see within. This is antarmukhi. It's very powerful. Truly speaking, meditation is remaining fixed in the self. But when thoughts cross the mind and the effort is made to eliminate them, the effort is termed as meditation. See what beautifully he has explained. Meditation means remaining fixed on the self, the soul. But when thoughts are coming into the mind, we make the effort to eliminate them. Some process we do by Pujaneti, something. That effort, he says, is termed as meditation. So there is a doership in meditation actually, when we meditate. What he suggests is remain as you are. That's the aim. Just be. Don't do, he says. He always said, don't do, just be. Now this is not a replacement for sadhanas and all that. Okay, I'm telling you. Sadhanas can be continued, what you're doing. But these are other practices that puts you apart from the egoic doership, and this centers you down. Those take it because they keep on offloading a lot of things and burning a lot of things through those methods. But this is to experience your stillness, yourself. It is a direct method. Simultaneously, it should work. It should help in that way. Remain as you are. That's the aim. My mind is not steady in meditation. Question. Ramana says, whenever it wanders, turn it inward again and again. Mind is too weak. Strengthen it by practice, by reducing the thoughts to a single one. Anytime it's running outside, bring it back. And again goes on, bring it back. Keep on doing this, he says, completely, because the mind is weak. He's saying, strengthen this practice by reducing the thoughts to one. Always maintain little thoughts. How little thoughts? You engage little in the world. Don't get too involved in the world. Don't get too much into dramas. Don't get into unwanted stuff of people and worldly things, the television, the news, what's happening there. And you will be bombarded by thoughts and you will not be able to center. So it is all giving up. I always said this, your life should go in this manner as you are proceeding. You can see the triangle. But down there is a big space, too much of things. But as you're going out, you got to shed off everything and come back here. Anything that is unwanted, shed it off. Anything, subtle or gross. Like I live a life where I don't accumulate. I make sure that. Even if I accidentally buy some new clothes or something, I will make sure that I empty the old one. I will not keep the old and the new. So it is being very cautious, being very aware of not accumulating too many things, not causing too much burden on yourself, taking on too many responsibilities, getting entangled into too many relationships, too many people, too many problems, which is not yours. So when you, for example, if you connect with one person, that person will have a different jagat. You are connecting to the whole jagat, not needed. It's a choice. Or you go into a certain office and you got to talk to a certain department or person. There will be a lot of other people there. There will be a lot of other departments. There will be many things there. Don't get involved in all that. Go straight to the point where you want. Talk to them, finish that thing, come back. When you go into the mall, you want to buy a shirt or a top. You go there. You wanted to buy that. Buy that straight, come back. If you go there and if you get distracted and then you go window shopping, let me look at this, you will end up gathering a lot of things and come back which you will never use and remain in your cupboard for long. This is the play of the mind. Being in awareness and not accumulating, not getting into anything more than that. If you are seeing, I want to know what happened today. Was there an earthquake or something like that? I heard. Put on the news. What are you seeing? The earthquake. So you are seeing the headlines. Oh, the headline came. The second news that is there. First news, okay, I just wait. I don't give too much heed. And the second news came, oh, you have the information about it was the magnitude, this was the epicenter. Okay, I got it. Shut off. Khatam. Now you are not sitting looking into that. When you go into your mobile and you're looking into stuff, you're searching something. You're seeing a particular video you wanted to. Okay. Then one more. By the end of 1 hour, you have seen hundreds of videos. Accumulated. Mind has accumulated all that sanskaras, that thoughts. So, what I am trying to tell, a person of an aware seeker will not fall into all this, any dramas. Whatever is requirement, they only focus only on that. Nothing else at that moment. One at a time you are handling. That's the way you live life. without accumulating too much things. How to meditate with the eyes open or closed? Ramana says it may be done either way. I teach both. The point is that the mind must be introverted and kept active in its pursuit. Sometimes when the eyes are closed, the latent thoughts rush forth with great vigor. It may also be difficult to introvert the mind with the eyes open. It's a challenge. Because that requires strength of the mind. See what I'm trying to tell you, when you meditate with your eyes open, you're strengthening your mind. It's a powerful technique, so you might want to opt that. When the mind takes in objects, it is contaminated. This is what I was telling in this whole example. You look somewhere, you get involved into something, you have brought in objects of the world, now the mind is getting contaminated. So it is no more Nirmal Man. The main factor is to keep off other thoughts and to keep the mind in its own pursuit without taking in external impressions or thinking of other matters. Exactly what I just said. Don't go into too many things. Don't indulge too much into the world. Whichever you want, check out, watch in awareness and see the activities which is non-futile, which is not giving you any results, which is a meaningless activity that is happening, cut it out of your life. Uproot it from your life. This way, when you do, over a period of time, you'll see you have enough time to now contemplate on the higher truths. And do something even productive, even if it is on the world. You'll spend quality time in productivity than engaging in unwanted stuff, because you lose energy there. The same energy can be used for your self-evolution. How to control thoughts? Question. Ramana says, the wavering of mind is because of its weakness, due to the dissipation of its energy in the shape of thoughts. See, exactly what I just said. Thoughts, you lose energy. You lose energy because of thoughts, due to the dissipation of its energy in the shape of thoughts. When one makes the mind stick to one thought, the energy is conserved and the mind becomes stronger. So that is, the idea is not even annihilating all the thoughts, but bring it down to one thought. It may be thought of self, thought of Guru, thought of God, thought of a flame, thought of light, whatever. Bring it down to one. That is still a thought. The process should go beyond, but he is telling the practice. Bring it to one thought. And when you are stuck in that one thought, when the mind, the main factor, where is it? When the mind sticks to one thought, the energy is conserved. You don't lose energy. And the mind becomes stronger. So the whole idea is to make the mind stronger. Remember, the whole episode that we are talking today is about Man hi karta, man hi bhokta. How not to be a victim of the mind, to strengthen the mind. The weakness of the mind is where the problem is. How to strengthen the mind? See the process. Bring it down to one thought. How? How can you reduce the thought? I told you. Don't fall into too many things that is unwanted in your life. Find out those things. Uproot. Take out. Make a reschedule of all your activities, which is not required. People, places, things not serving your good. Pluck them, pick them out. Strength of the mind is gained by practice, as the Gita points out. In the earlier stages, mind reverts to the search only at long intervals, but with continued practice, it reverts at short intervals until finally it does not wander at all. In the starting stages, he says, mind reverts to the search only in long intervals. It takes a long time to come to this kind of centering down. But eventually, he says, it reverts at a shorter intervals until it finally does not wander at all. So when that duration shortens, and then you see it doesn't take much time for you to cut down to one thought. Previously it takes a lot of time to cut. Now with the practice, easily you are able to cut out thoughts. Every day you will see that increasing. Little thoughts, it will keep on reducing, because now you are not taking intake unwanted stuff. So you reduce that and bring into. So in short interval, until he says the mind now does not wander at all. See, it's by practice. It is then that the dormant Shakti manifests and the mind resolves itself into the life current. This is where the Shakti actually works, because when the mind is stilled, the energy works, the Shakti works. Till it is engaged in a lot of things, we don't see the energy is not rising only when there are too many thoughts. Only when it is made still, the Shakti begins function. The illumination is experienced in the right side. Okay, it's not important right now. Kundalini and chakras exist for beginners who practice that path of yoga. But for the one who is practicing self-inquiry, they do not exist. See? They do exist, but only in the starting stages, when the person is practicing and learning about the self and understanding the whole concept of the body, mind and spirit. And then the practices begin with the Kundalini, with the chakras and all that. What he's trying to say is Kundalini and chakra exist for beginners who are practicing the path of yoga. But for the one who is practicing self-inquiry, straight going to the self without getting entangled into any other koshas, for them, these do not exist. Neither the Kundalini exists, neither the chakra exists. So with this, I think I'll make an end here. This is part 2 actually. There are 2 videos. Those who joined late, you can go into the first video. That is a very important video. It has a lot of details. So you can watch that video. And today 3:30, I think I'll just check out with the Swamiji. I have not had my food yet. 3:30 he wanted to do a session on in Hindi. That they are doing actually. That the ashram does regular lives. But he wants me to host it. So he wants me to take over, and so they will be doing it. I'm not sure whether I will broadcast it here. So let me see. Because the subject is a little different. He's talking about Jivatman, Paramatman and the external stuff. The external Bahimukhi, exactly what I was talking. So I think we can do that. But it's in Hindi, it should not. And he is going a little more deeper into the external practices of like Preta Vidya and all the Vashikarans and how those thing people, because a lot of awareness needs to be generated on the superstition. Many people are getting stuck in this. Even the inclusion of in the Bahimukhi sadhana, they go outside and seek in a temple or a place or some person who is mediating all that and get stuck in that. Because even he said, even all the temples do not have really gods. There are different deities, there are different beings being worshipped there, and all those beings are very conditional. They give, but they take from you. So he says that is not our path of Nityananda. The mystics, the avduts, it's all internal path. Bahimukhi, nothing outside. Because when you are Bahimukhi, you can get stuck in all this. You don't even know whether it is right or wrong and all those things. So it was all about educating the masses, because here in the villages these things are very, very too much. That's not my cup of tea, because I never go put more attention into all these things. It's straight inside only. See, astrally everything exists. There are so many things that exist. I heard one disciple was talking to an avduta and saying, do evil exist? He said, why? No, I just want to know, do astral beings of this kind exist? Do aliens exist? He said, why do you want to know that? It's my curiosity. He says, do you want to encounter something with them? No, but do they exist? He said, yes, they all exist. It's a huge cosmos and everything exists. But he said, do you want to get entangled into that? No, I wanted to be curious. Then he said, okay, then you want to be entangled in it. So shall it be. You put your attention into that, you will get it. You put your full awareness, you put your whole energies, your consciousness into those dimensions, you will get it. And you know what happens? He said, no, I don't want to get into it. Then he said, mind your own business. When you mind your own business, they don't. What did I say? You focus on Himalaya becomes active in you. You focus on the galaxies, planets, they become active in you. You focus on God, God becomes active in you. You focus on self, self becomes active. You focus on Guru, Guru becomes active in you. Wherever your focus is, that becomes active. So you project on a astral world, lower realms, the hell, the down lokas which are there. You want to concentrate. You'll end up there. So it was all about that. It is the same thing that I am telling here. Put your mind and consciousness and awareness only on that which helps you. Which does not help you, do not become a curious cat. You know the famous saying, curiosity kills the cat. So it's better not to get curious in all unwanted. So he just wants to bring little awareness into, that is what they regularly do. So he was inviting me as a host. So I'll just pitch in there and see what best we can do a talking. So I think I'll on this. If you feel interested, I'm coming, but I'm again telling you, this is not really needed. For us who are concentrated here, even if you don't see, it's fine. But if for your understanding and expansion of awareness, if you want to see and become enlightened and aware, lighten up with the facts and truths and the myths that we might get stuck into, it can help you. So hope today's session has been. Oh, Malaji, you are here. Glad to see you. So I think the first session, I don't know where it is going to come. You guys just look into that. So with this, I take your leave. Much divine love and light. Stay blessed.